Left-wing lesbian atheists. Get show of hands, please. What kind of a culture are we?
I think a band like Oasis should be more considerate of their fellow performers when they decide where and when to put their shows on.
Now, isn't it hilarious that Oasis has been able to ride the anti-woke wave here in the United Kingdom this summer without any criticism whatsoever? And by the way, even though I have my own personal issues with Liam Gallagher dating back many years, I like Noel a lot, I'm fully behind this. I was a massive Oasis fan in the 90s. Indeed, did you see Noel Gallagher actually get a little bit political, taking the piss, I think, out of, was it atheist lesbians at Oasis's gig in Edinburgh a few nights ago? Watch.
Left-wing lesbian atheists. Get show of hands, please. What kind of a culture are we? Eh? Come on. Disgraceful. This next song is for all the atheist lesbians.
Well, of course, one of those left-wing atheist lesbians, indeed, I actually don't know if she's the latter two, she's certainly the first, is a comedian. I mean, I always say this is someone who actually should be taken to the Trade Descriptions Act, because I do not understand how Kate Smurthwaite, one of the most deranged feminists in all the world, describes herself as a comedian, but she does. And at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, she decided that the fact her gig had completely flopped, even though, by the way, lots of other lefty comedians had huge gigs on the day, was, wait for it, because of Oasis. Watch. Can you believe that more than half of you are watching this video but not subscribed? So please do me a huge favor. Click the subscribe button now. Turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to all of our brand new Outspoken videos.
I'm here at the Banshee Labyrinth, still in costume, 25 minutes after my show should have started, and this is the Oasis effect. So I did a couple of hours flyering, as I usually would. That would usually get me a good crowd, and I could tell it wasn't working. Big groups of people in Oasis shirts coming past, no interest in hearing about my show or anybody else's show that was out there advertising. My children's show this morning also cancelled due to 0 audience members showing up. And I'm also aware of performers losing their accommodation because landlords have suddenly realised that they can make more money by renting the space out to Oasis fans. I think it's absolutely heartbreaking to be cancelling shows. The first time I've done this in 10 years at the Edinburgh Fringe. Literally pulled a show because no one showed up. I think the Fringe Society should have seen this coming and done more about it. And I think a band like Oasis should be more considerate of their fellow performers when they decide where and when to put their shows on.
Kate. As one of my favourite guests on GB News, even though you despised every moment you had to spend in my company, you did it for the £100, right? And I think that shows a certain type of desperation, which I respect. But seriously, Kate, you've got to change career. I'm actually trying to give you a genuine piece of advice. You're not a bad hard left flamethrower, but you are as funny as cancer, and that is the reason that no one has attended your gigs. Nothing to do with Oasis, genuinely. As Tommy Robinson put it, when someone wrote on X, nobody turned up to lefty feminist comedian Kate Smurthwaite's gig and she blamed Oasis. Oh, well, Kate, don't look back in anger. It was Basil the Great who posted that. He said, as if the sort of person that watches Oasis watches this joke. Connor Tomlinson of Tomlinson Talks on YouTube. This was quite a stretch from Miss Smurthwaite, blaming Oasis for the failure of her Edinburgh comedy show.
Quite. I'm very confused as what her costume was. She looks like she's playing a transsexual version of Michael Douglas in Falling Down.
I was going to ask if she was transitioning. But I don't know.
Yeah, but from what to what? I'm actually quite confused at this point. I think she's the living embodiment of the infamous quote from televangelist Pat Robertson that feminism only exists to promote women to kill their children, leave their husbands, and practice witchcraft and become hideously ugly. Because yeah, Kate Smurthwaite. She looks like the receptionist in Monsters Inc. It's just dreadful. I remember Leo Kearse once, after I think it was an altercation on your show on GB News, Dan, described Kate as a verbal mustard gas. And you say she's about as funny as cancer. Well, her jokes stink about as bad as her armpit hair, which she proudly displays. The only funny thing Kate Smurthwaite's ever done is attempt to argue with Milo Yiannopoulos on the BBC and get absolutely hysterical and eviscerated. Thank you for showing me that nauseating image. I wanted dinner later on, but I'm not going to have
Sorry
it
if
now.
you're eating dinner.
Yeah, don't. If you're watching Dan's show, it turns out. Look, literally, Kate Smurthwaite, she is honestly, when ideology is your main output, when you are just reciting received wisdom and unexamined talking points, when you are a perpetual victim, when you grift off the fact that you are offended and you try and look for oppression bogeyman under every single bed, it turns out that your ability to write jokes suffers severely. And the age of woke so-called comedy, where these figures are astroturfed because they recite the politically correct opinions that the establishment gatekeepers want them to hold, is coming very much to an end. And this is why the independent media space is actually elevating far better comedians like Leo Kearse, like Nick Dixon, over and above demented feminists like Smurthwaite.
Yes, and by the way, if you want a funny right-wing female comedian, the Intel lady is brilliant. She's the one that does the excellent impression of Angela Rayner, and I actually laugh out loud when I'm watching her videos. The only funny thing about Kate Smurthwaite, though, is seeing her get so wound up when her TV appearances go terribly wrong, which inevitably they always do. My team put together this hilarious compilation watch. But first, as I've entered my 40s, aging has become ever present in my life. My body doesn't back up the way it used to, and I've found that it's far easier to get injured when trying to work out, far harder to recover too. But I believe one of the best aging breakthroughs of the last decade is qualia senolytic. And I'm going to explain why. Senolytics are a science field revolutionizing human aging. A big culprit behind that middle-aged feeling can be so-called zombie cells that linger in your body after their useful function, wasting your energy and resources. Now, those zombie cells can lead to less energy, slower workout recovery, joint discomfort, and basically feeling old. Now, qualia senolytic is a groundbreaking, clinically tested supplement with 9 vegan plant-derived compounds that help your body naturally eliminate these zombie cells, helping you feel years younger in just months. But here's what I absolutely love about this product. You take it just 2 days a month, helping your body naturally eliminate zombie cells to age better at the cellular level. Now, since taking qualia senolytic, I've felt like I've turned back the clock. I have higher energy, less soreness after exercise, and a big boost in productivity too. That all equals feeling so much better. So experience the science of feeling younger by going to qualialife.com/Dan for up to 50% off your purchase. Use the code DAN, that's DAN, for an additional 15%. So that's QUALIA life.com/Dan for an extra 15% off your purchase. Your older self will thank you. And by the way, thanks to Qualia for sponsoring this episode. Now, let's get back to it.
Women's spaces on the fact that there are boys and girls toilets in schools and girls don't have access to single-sex facilities on the basis that we are changing. This is what happens.
Maybe Kate should go and spend some time in Afghanistan and see how she gets on over there with her views.
Oh, okay. So you're literally like sort of threatening me now. I mean, that's
No, I'm just saying.
That's really obnoxious. Because I've not said Afghanistan is wonderful. I've said we should be supporting the women of Afghanistan. And You know,
You think any form of masculinity is toxic.
Oh, do
Whereas
I?
Emma is saying,
Oh.
actually...
How fascinating. Perhaps you'd like to argue the case.
Of course
it is. Even the way that you're behaving right now is nothing short of aggression, is it?
Well, I don't think Lauren
Okay,
is
so
aggressive.
sorry. I'm so aggressive. Yeah.
Because you've been shouting over me
but
the
Lauren-
words shot in the head, shot in the head. I don't know how
A woman.
be
I've
more
been sent a
aggressive.
video today. I've been
No.
sent. I've been sent.
That's
I've been
about
sent
the
a
most
load of
aggressive
videos.
I'm aware of. Really have a right to be treated respectfully.
We are unfortunately running out of time, but Peter, I just want to get one final thought from you. Are there words that are used to describe men that offend you?
Not particularly, and if there are some I don't like, I certainly wouldn't want them banned. But it always goes back to that old adage: sticks and stones may break my bones, but there will always be something to offend a feminist.
Peter Lloyd.
No, that's just obnoxious.
Peter
Sorry,
Lloyd
you
and
have
Kate
to give me a
Smurthwaite. I
chance
think
to
we'll let you
respond.
carry on.
That is ridiculous. No, hang on, I won't do your show again if you don't let me
Go
respond.
on, Kate, have a word.
Come on, that's ridiculous.
She wasn't allowed to respond. Oh, Connor, that's where she's funny, actually. That's where she's funny, when you wind her up.
I don't think Peter Lloyd actually knows how many men were made right-wing by that clip. Like, I remember going to university, so it was like 2017, and this was the SJW cringe compilation era, where you'd have the likes of Milo Yiannopoulos, Stephen Crowder, Carl Benjamin, Tucker Carlson, and Peter Lloyd trashing all of these social justice warriors and demented woke precursors on mainstream media and on podcasts. And just the schadenfreude you got from seeing these woke scold moralists who have absolutely no credibility because they're wretched, hideous, and quite thick, actually, get their arse handed to them was a joy to behold. And that's what made a hell of a lot of men actually get involved in politics out of purely a desire to repudiate these people. One of the funniest things, though, is, Dan, it's always kind of nostalgic to watch the old GB News debates. It's a shame that Ofcom gives people like Smurthwaite a career, pays them to go on and make jokes that are more terrible than apparently her internet connection was in those clips. And I find often these panel debates kind of unwatchable because the quality of leftist commentator is, honestly, it gives me a
Well, it's given
migraine.
Matthew
But-
Stadler a career, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, and Benjamin Butterworth and all the other wretched idiots. But it is kind of funny that she tacitly admitted that Afghanistan is an ungovernable hellhole that hates women, and that she wouldn't want to go there. Whereas if you pressed her on this, especially probably now after the Afghan importation scandal, she's also very keen on importing all the men from Afghanistan who do all the oppressing. So the contradictions in her worldview they're the size of chasms. And so that means that the more you just let her talk, the more that she repudiates her own credibility and the credibility of her co-ideologues. And you're right, it quite is a funny sight to behold.
It really is. By the way, Matthew Stadler, he's arranging today, no less. Today, I've just seen about an appearance on GB News, which he still goes on because the bloke is so desperate for money and every other news outlet has said no thanks, including all the lefty ones. He's just posted saying Lee Anderson called me a limp-wristed liberal on TV. No skin off my nose, but it's really important that Reform don't win the next election. Oh, why? Because Lee called you a limp-wristed liberal. Very bizarre, Connor.
Stadlen is very much like Fraser Nelson in that when someone who is a bit sharp comes back at him with stats that he finds inconvenient, like myself, he's very keen to block them because he doesn't want you replying or quote retweeting him, repudiating him to the very few crazy people who still exist in an echo chamber and take him seriously. As far as GB News goes, look, there's still some very good hosts over there. It's a shame that most of the panelists are not very impressive, but I am continually frustrated by the fact that they keep bringing on that Fatima woman who has gone on Iranian state-funded TV after October the 7th. Like, sorry, you won't let certain young right-wingers on because you think that they're an Ofcom threat. I was once told that I was considered a legal liability by one of the producers because I said I predicted that the Indian trade deal would cause more Indian migration. Who could have thought? But this woman can go on a jihadist state's TV network and then go straight on GB News and be consulted as a credible voice on why we should open our borders and become a caliphate and destroy our own country. No, thank you very much. That's not up for debate. Stop paying people who hate us.
Indeed, and of course they continue to ban Tommy Robinson as well, don't they? So very, very interesting. Connor Tomlinson, host of the brilliant Tomlinson Talks, which is now back on YouTube and highly recommended by me. Do subscribe. Such a great channel. And I so appreciate having you here. We will speak next week. Connor, thank you so much. And now we're going to reveal Greatest Britain Union Jackass in just one moment. But first, to your comments. Thank you for your super chats, Rusty Nuts, Billy, and also Stevie Leeds, who says of the whole King Charles thing, maybe we could turn Buckingham Palace into a hotel for the new arrivals instead of being forced to have HMOs with 8 illegals living next door to Alice. Good point, I think. Let's see if you want that, Charles. Lily, this is on the whole reform Islamification, says, if you have had a serious look at Nigel's political career and his life too, he is a massive snake. And that partly is a danger to our country, more so than we have had. Advance UK is the only way. On a similar note, Jenny Hodgkinson says, cancelled my Reform membership, will join Advance because she can't stand Sarah Pochen. John Power, I remember Farage saying we have to embrace Islam by 2050 or we lose it all. He never said why or what we will lose. And John Patrick Smith says, and this is back on King Charles, I am a monarchist, or was, but he shows contempt for his own people and covered up by the grubby MSM who are probably looking for honours in doing so. Okay, Union Jackass time now, the worst Britain in the world. Today, your nominees. Prince Harry, put forward by Lee Cohen for his charity and Netflix flops. Scheming Sturgeon, nominated by Morning Shout for her cringe interviews and forgetful memory. And the aforementioned Kate Smurthwaite, nominated by Real Metcalf for blaming Oasis for her empty comedy show, failing to realise that it may be her quote-unquote comedy, which is the problem. Okay, and the results are in. Kate Smurthwaite in third place with 13% of the vote. I imagine that's because most of you have no idea who this lunatic is. The runner-up with 31% of the vote, Prince Harry. But today's Union Jackass, with 56% of the vote, Scheming Sturgeon as she continues her book tour, pledging that she wants to end the British monarchy and so much more. Today's Greatest Britain, nominated by Jackie Clinch, Dame Andrea Jenkins, the Mayor of Lincolnshire for standing up for women's safety, and I believe this nomination was made in light of an interview with Christian Guru Murty on Channel 4 News last night, where lots of people say that it was, you know, some type of disastrous performance for Andrea Jenkins. I actually completely disagree. It's impossible. It's just impossible to be interviewed by Channel 4 News. But that's what I find hilarious. Reform UK will not come on this show. They're too scared to come on this show, but they'll go and sit down with Channel 4 News. It says it all. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.